Hello and welcome to week 6. Whoa, I hit it there. Week 6. Week 6 of Johnson Community College's English 111 Online Spring 2020. All right, what are we doing this week? Well, we're going to introduce our next paper, which is the compare-contrast paper. Yay! There are writings in your textbook, writing as inquiry and comparing and contrasting. So review those sections in your textbook to find those out. We get to do an example. There's an example of compare-contrast called Beauty and the Beast. If you just click on that link, it'll take you to that. And we have 3 things that are due. That narrative paper. So last week you submitted your paper to the discussion board where you got feedback from your peers, and now you cleaned it up and you're going to submit it, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. So it's a safe assign. I'll explain what that means in just a second. You get to take a quiz on the comparison and contrast, and you get to complete the 5th portfolio assignment, and we'll also review what the comparison and contrast paper is all about. So to help you with all this, there is a video here, compare contrast presentation. This really kind of explains a lot of what you're going to find in the textbook, so it reinforces that. And you do have this quiz here on compare contrast. All the answers really for the quiz are going to be found in this video and in your textbook. Okay, so you're going to watch this video and you're going to read this little link here to kind of give an example of what a compare contrast is. You'll have a quiz there. But let's talk about turning in your narrative paper. All right, so to do this, actually I'm going to switch over to student view because it's going to look a little different. Okay. Oh, and it jumped me right out of that. Okay, what are we, week 6? Yeah, we're in week 6 here. Boom. Okay, so for the narrative paper, so when I go to submit my final draft of the narrative paper, we'll talk about the rubric in a second. What you're going to do is you're not going to write a submission, you're going to upload it, okay? And so you're going to browse your computer and you're going to upload it. And you have to click, I agree to submit my paper to the Global Reference Database. What happens now is that you're going to submit this paper and it's going to look over it and look for plagiarism. It's automatically checked for plagiarism. So if you've copied and pasted things from outside sources and said, this is my writing, or if you have completed this assignment for a different class and you've copied and pasted work that you've done before, no, you will get a 0 on this assignment. All the work for this class has to be done as original work, okay? And then you browse your computer and submit it. Now for the rubric, if you want to see how you're graded on it, you just click on View Rubric, and I'll let you kind of go through this at your leisure, okay? But this just explains, okay, exactly how are you going to get graded. So the goal here is to do all these things. Okay? Alrighty, fantastic. That is how you submit your narrative paper final draft. So let's go back to week 6 here. Okay, so that's your final draft there. You know how to take a quiz. Okay, for Portfolio 5, you're going to use this portfolio to reflect back on what you've learned about your writing style when it came to creating different drafts of the narration paper. So you wrote a draft and then you submitted it to your peers for them to do. Maybe you really struggled with the formatting. Maybe you weren't sure quite how to write, and then they pointed out you had a lot of mistakes as far as grammar, or maybe you had maybe your paper was very grammatically correct, but you weren't really telling a story or whatever else. What did you learn about your writing style when it came to creating the different drafts? So that you're going to reflect on that in Portfolio 5. And you know how to do Portfolio, so we're not going to spend a lot of time with that. So let's take a look at the next paper which we're going to work on, which is the compare-contrast paper. And in the video, it talks about how we are going to compare 2 things. We can compare 2 things. They need to be somewhat similar in nature. Sometimes we're trying to prove one is better than the other, or the 2 things that seem different are actually more similar than we thought, or 2 things that seem similar or actually more different than we thought. Probably the easiest way to approach this paper is to pick 2 things and figure out which one is better, because we do that all the time. It's like, okay, well, I got to pick between 2 things. Which one am I going to pick? So if you look at the assignment here, it's pretty straightforward. For this paper, use the compare-contrast approach to show that one thing is better than another. So you could, for example, pick, if you're looking at buying a car, you can say, oh, I can pick between this car or that car A or car B. Or let's say you're trying to decide, okay, I want to get a cell phone. Do I pick an Apple phone, or do I pick, an Android phone? Or, I have a choice to ask 2 different girls out this weekend or 2 different guys out this weekend. Which one? Okay, probably don't use people. That may not be the best way to do it. But anyway, the two items should be somewhat similar. Okay, you don't have to do any research. This is all just your opinion on this one. We'll get to research in the next assignment, so don't worry about that for right now. Right now, we're just practicing the compare contrast approach. Okay, you can use your personal experiences as proof. So let's say you're talking about two phones, and you're like, well, I've had Android phones in the past, and I've used my friend's iPhone, and I'm going to choose whatever phone it is, and here's the reasons why based on my personal experience. Okay, so it should be 2 to 5 pages in length, again in MLA formatting, and here are some basic ways that you can look at to help you figure out if you're doing this correctly. Okay, so you can kind of just make sure that if you kind of read through this, it'll kind of leave you with that kind of a concept. So that is introducing your compare contrast assignment, and I would get started on that as soon as possible. So for the 18th, you're going to again finish your final draft of your narrative paper. You're going to take the quiz, which is right there. The answers are in the video and in the reading, and you're going to complete the 5th portfolio assignment, which is found right there, and you're going to start working on your compare contrast paper. So that's what's going on this week, and so go do it.